Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we've got something a little different. A content creators roundtable. A frank, candid conversation about our time in the Godforge Beta. We pulled no punches. It went so long it basically became a podcast. So this is part 1. If you want more long-form content like this, smash that like and subscribe. Links to all the guys are in the description. Go show them some love. Grab a brew, sit back, and enjoy.
The rewards yesterday that we got, I was able to. I pulled a what's his name, Ryujin, the dragon, and was really able. And basically, between him and what's it called? My what is his name? Sizzin or Kissin, as you said.
Kissing, yeah.
I put both of them in a 4-piece tremor set, and it's basically been game changing.
Wow.
It's yeah. So that's kind of the big takeaway from my stream today is anybody with an AoE basic gets a 4-piece tremor right away.
Wow, that's really interesting.
If you can double it up, it's even better. But
I haven't even looked at trying to get sets onto them, like specific sets, because it's just too hard to get good stats as well as fulfilling a set bonus.
Yeah, for what I'm doing, the stats don't really matter outside of like accuracy and speed, and then because we're literally just trying to land stuns.
Right.
You need the 4-piece tremor set to land the stuns.
Yeah.
And
is it 25%?
It's literally just it's 20% on.
That's 20, right?
Yeah, 20%. But like that's why it's so good with AoEs.
Yep.
Because then they can. Oh man, they're not landing. They're not landing for me. This is not good.
It's very RNG when you rely on disables like that.
Oh, it's very tough, and it's not even so much. Wiped my entire team. Fuck.
It's gonna happen a lot. It's gonna happen a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, Tion Realm. I'm on Tion Realm. Stage 3 is where I'm at right now.
Wow, that's serious progress.
Yeah, I went from not being able to get past Izuma 1,
right,
to just cruising through it. Once I got past that, Ragewood was in the chat, and he was like, dude, after you get past the first one, you're going to be fine until level 7, and then level 10.
Right.
And we went back. We actually were able to cruise through. Once we got past level 1, we were able to cruise through. Got past level 7 without too many issues, and then got to level 10, and we got stuck. So I went and farmed Ascension stuff to 4-star ascend Ryujin to get so I could attune him and get those bonuses right there.
Yeah.
And basically right there, we came back and and made like easy work out of Izumo 10. It was ridiculous. I was like, oh man, if we would have just got past like the first wave, that first run, we probably would have been fine. Completely. But
what was so hard about the first wave?
Just in the
damage.
Yeah, the damage coming back at us was just so hard.
Yeah.
God dang it.
So you got to lock them down.
Yeah, you have to. You have to lock them down. They're so tanky. You're not really gonna have a chance to. You're not really gonna have a chance to like do good damage to them.
Yep.
So it's really about just lockdown.
Yep.
So
I noticed that about adventure mode. It ramps up their health, their mitigation, their speed. Everything just ramps up. It's crazy.
Very much so. God dang it! And there goes my Shamash. I'm dead.
I sort of noticed it in Avalon being the first realm that you hit, sort of, but it wasn't that bad. I was still able to really do Avalon. Hit Asgard and realized, not only are there stronger heroes like Odin and his two wolves and Loki in the first 3 stages,
Yeah.
and things like this, you realize, oh, they have so much more health and they're mitigating my damage a lot more, and my damage dealer is barely cutting through their defenses. You really start to notice it, and that's where I think that was the point at which I really started to level my gear to 16. I got Keyseen to level 60 and I ascended him, and all of that, like, booked him. I fully booked him because we were lucky enough to be given those legendary books, and just putting the resources into him to really make him as powerful as I could, and it made enough of a difference. And then you get a couple more realms on and you're like, oh, things are actually getting really hard again.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like the jump up is really fast, and then you kind of cruise until you hit. Aru was another big step up for me, but once I got past that, it was really no big deal.
Yep.
But Izumo was like, it was like going from Avalon 1 story mode to Avalon 1 adventure mode.
Right.
Like that jump up was insanely massive. But yeah, it's
about conquering it, right? It's about solving the thing that's in front of you. And we all got to experience that during this beta. Now, I've been reading recent comments, and a lot of regular people who obviously are not the same as us, who are making content and really diving into the content and providing things for people's entertainment, and you know, allowing people to see a little bit behind the scenes in terms of how do you put a team together, and how do these heroes rate, and where should you use them, and how do these bosses work. And I haven't put all that together yet. That's content for the coming weeks, but our perspective is a little bit different to the average player that's come into this beta. Now, they said 60,000 players, and then Simon said 70,000 players on Romsey's podcast, and I don't think it's 70,000 players. I think it's 70,000 accounts. But still, if it's 25 to 30,000 players, that's still a good chunk of people. Now, the majority of those are just people playing the beta because they want to check out the game, they want to see what needs improvement, they want to give their feedback, they want to discover the bugs, and they're having a regular user experience. And so I was having a chat with someone in the regular Godforge voice chat yesterday. I just hopped in because I saw someone was sharing their screen, and I was just checking out what he was up to. He told me it was his 3rd account. And I was like, how do you have time for 3 accounts? But he had a few, not gripes, but just comments about the state of the game. And I thought, this is probably the sentiment of a good chunk of people, that we're a little bit biased, right? We don't just hope for the best, we're seeing the best. Whereas a number of these people, they're actually being realistic about it. And I said to people, stop being so negative about the game. Give the dev team a break. They're working really hard to get things into a good place. But they said, we're not being negative, we're being realistic. And realistically, there are a lot of holes in the way that it's being developed. And there are a lot of holes in just the innovation behind it, and mechanically, and all of this. And I said, well, I just hope that you are articulating this back to the dev team, because if they don't hear the gripes from the community about their beta experience, they're not going to be able to pivot and adjust their path forward. And even though they have a roadmap, they need to be able to adjust that roadmap, right? They can't give us timeframes on stuff, and if they did, I would be extremely cautious, and I'd actually be a little bit scared for the future of the game if they gave us definitive answers on certain things, because it would mean that they're willing to lay money down on the line for where things are definitely headed, whereas we don't know. And if they don't know, that's actually healthy, because although they have libraries of guidance, and they have strong development backing them, and they have a roadmap to be able to pivot and change things and strip out things and make huge decisions still at this point, I think it's really, really important for the health of the game. So in one of those recent things that Simon was chatting about, he mentioned again the grid system that they originally came up with, and I went, oh yeah, that was a couple of years ago where they pivoted away from that. But there are certain elements in the game that were still tied into that, like their purpose tied back to that system they pivoted away from. They never pivoted away from certain other elements in the game that don't necessarily make sense anymore. And that whole discussion around what makes sense, what has a purpose, and being able to make huge shifts, like that shift away from the initial idea of the grid system, that's really important for the dev team to do that, and for the leadership to feed it down to the dev team and say, we need to discuss these things. This is what I hope that in the next couple of months they are having just so much discussion about the state of the community and the feedback that the community is giving, and all of the negative stuff that's come through around the art and the animations and the story. There's very little negative about the story, but just all of the elements that they asked for feedback on, the mechanics and the systems, and whether the systems tie in well together, and whether things make sense, and whether imprints are actually impactful and people actually use the imprints, and whether things have a good flow, and all of this stuff, they need to be discussing it, and they need to be taking on board all of those discussions within the community. Like I said, what people are terming realistic, but what I'm seeing as quite negative feedback, and quite a big sentiment at the moment is, I hope that beta 2 is much better than this beta. This was not a good beta. This is the sentiment that I'm hearing. I don't know about you.
I'm not necessarily hearing that it wasn't a good beta. I do hear all the same similar feedback about not looking good enough. A lot of it comes down to, I think I heard a lot of folks kind of say initially that they felt that we were in a spot where after the hang on, what's going on?
The game's giving you grief.
No, it's my computer.
Oh no.
My stupid speakers decided they wanted to disconnect and reconnect, and when it reconnected, it like auto played YouTube.
Okay.
So, no, I think a lot of people were coming with the impression, or either impression or assumption, or just, I don't even know if it was really an assumption, but coming in with the feeling that the game was going to be a lot closer to being ready for launch than it ended up being. And as a result of that, you get kind of a little bit more of a disappointment type of a feel.
Yeah.
As opposed to like feeling super hyped about it.
Right.
And I totally understand that, especially after the alphas. We definitely kind of felt like, oh, this is awesome. This is really cool. We're gonna be in a good spot here. And then now here we are, and we're just like, oh, are we in a good spot here? Because it's just like, with all the bugs, a lot of the same bugs came back up. I don't know if that had to do with like changing over like the engine and stuff that they're running on, and maybe, I don't know, maybe that reintroduced some of the bugs that got fixed. Some of the quality of life stuff that got fixed in alpha is no longer in game for the beta, or was not in at launch. And I think some of the couple of things they either got back in, or they're working on getting back in for us. But in general, man, I've had very much more of like a come at it from far away, like a 10,000 foot view. I think a lot of people are coming at it, very much like under a microscope. I
Yeah.
kind of said it on my stream earlier today.
Yeah.
You know, everything they've done from the time of here's your email address to sign up for the beta until you know this beta goes bye here in a couple days. Everything has been under a microscope, which good and bad. I mean,
Yeah.
you can take that as a good thing, you can take it as a bad thing. But like they've I think the game is in a I think the game has good bones. I do think there is a lot to get worked on. 100%
Yep.
agree with that. Whether I don't want to be like a negative content creator, but like and so in general, I kind of tend to skew my stuff optimistically.
Yep.
Not to say I'm trying to, push anything under the rug or just like, ignore something, willfully or anything like that. It's more, I don't see negativity as, I don't see all the things that are wrong. Maybe it's because I don't want to see them subconsciously, but I know there's a lot of people, there's, I had one of my chatters today, super into it. And they told me they were working, one of their old jobs was to work, they worked QA for EA Sport, for like EA and like BioWare.
Yep.
And so like they had made a bunch of accounts and they were really scrutinizing the game. I'm like, that's good. That we love that. That's awesome.
Yep.
But at the same time, like, I think as soon as we realized that the game isn't necessarily, as ready to launch as we all may have initially, thought or hoped,
Yep.
Coming into the beta, I do think there is a good foundation here to a fun to play game, and I think, I'm hopeful they take. I've never seen anything, that says that they're not going to take our advice, seriously and our feedback seriously.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I still have to be pretty hopeful that they take everything, to heart and try to separate, our company's ego from the feedback that we're getting, so we can try to make, the best game that we possibly can.
Yeah.
As opposed to just, here's a game, guys, go spend money on it.
Yeah. or saying to the community, we are listening to you, we're working with you, we're walking hand in hand with your comments and your feedback, and then just ignoring those comments. And I have not. You're right.
Exactly.
I have not seen that happen. And you're right about the game having good bones as well. Now, some people who have maybe a tech background have looked at it under a microscope, as you've said, with a fine-tooth comb, and they
should.
They can articulate what's wrong with it. And some of them are pretty disappointed because of all the hype, and they look at it and they go, well, I can see that they haven't taken these steps in the early stages to make sure certain things don't come up later, or there is some foundational stuff that is wrong with it, and therefore they need to fix this, and this. I don't know if anyone's articulated exactly that, but because I don't have a tech background, I have no idea how difficult it is to fix what's wrong and whether things are actually wrong. But in terms of fun, I've had a really enjoyable beta. But that's subjective, right? And like I said before, content creators have a little bit of a biased view in terms of which we're all trying to be positive in the face of realism. But also, if it's enjoyable to us, then we can't change that. It is enjoyable. It is subjective, but we are biased in that we've invested so much into this game and into the final product that we want it to succeed. I'm not saying that other people don't want it to succeed. They do. A lot of the community wants it to succeed, but they are disappointed at the moment, and that is why people are speaking out negatively. Whereas our job is not to market the game and to highlight all the positive stuff. Our job is to, well, just be natural. And if naturally we are enjoying what's being shown to us, that's really good, because that's going to speak authentically to our audiences. Now, putting out that review that 1 week review that we all put out. I watched yours, by the way. Thought it was
Oh,
really good.
thanks.
I really enjoyed it. It was longer than mine. How dare you? You did a totally different approach. You were in your account showing stuff, and I was basically had a battle running in the background for a lot of mine. But totally
Sure.
different approaches to the things. And in our 1 week review, we were asked to give honest feedback, and that's exactly what we did. We gave our feedback, and if it's skewed on the positive, then can't be helped. I'm sorry. I like where it is and where it's going, but as I've said to people recently, my biggest concern is that it feels too much like a Raid clone still. The game loop
Yeah.
does feel too much like Raid, but then you go back a couple of years and the team basically said, within this genre, there are going to be similarities to other games in this genre. So whether they can break out of that mold or not is actually up to huge decisions by the dev team, I think.
Yeah, I think any Raid was so ridiculously successful
Yeah.
and came seemingly out of nowhere.
It
that
felt
I
like
think
it, yeah.
any game is going to have, some sort of similarity to it. Like Dragonair has similarities, Watcher of Realms has similarities.
Right.
Like there's always going to be in this genre, I think, even the games before, because even like Raid came out and a lot of folks were when I don't know how early on you played and paid attention to Raid, but there were a lot of folks that were calling Raid a summoner's war. Is it Summoner's War or Summoner's
Yeah.
Glory? One of those.
Yeah.
They're calling it a clone of those games and stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, it just Raid grew into being the big boy on the block, and as a result, Raid is obviously, because it is the big boy on the block, it's gonna get all the comparisons for sure.
Yeah.
And a huge, not just the founders and everything of Fateless, but like a huge portion of the player base is coming from Raid.
Yes.
Whether a lot of them are going to be playing both games remains to be seen. I imagine there's probably going to be a huge contingent that, at early access, full release, I think there's going to be a big contingent of players that make a decision one way or the other.
Yep.
There's also going to be a big overlap of players.
Yes.
We've still seen it with like Watcher of Realms and Dragonair. There's people play both, and there's, I think in the genre generally, there's plenty of room for everybody to have a seat at the table, so to speak. So
yeah,
I think they're in a good place as far as what genre they're in.
Yep.
It's going to remain to be seen how well they do in other markets outside of like the Western markets.
Yeah.
Like will Godforge become a big game in the Asian community, because gachas are huge in Asia, and if they become good in Asia, then like you can have a terrible looking, terrible feeling game, but if it does good in Asia, you're kind of you can get by that because they're going to carry. But also, like, will they cater to that market at all? I don't know. Are they going to stick to trying to cater to Western market? Remains to be seen. But I think in general, like, I do agree with your sentiment. As content creators, we have an inherent desire, and that's not really we have like an inherent
responsibility or prerogative, I think. Like
I think we generally
responsibility.
Yeah, we in general, we want any game that we're covering, whether it's Raid Shadow Legends, GTA, any game that we decide to make a video on, we want it to do well. That way, if the game, or at least we want it to be around. That way, if the game is still out, we can make content on it. Obviously, if a game does well, then it's going to be more popular. There's going to be more people playing it. There's going to be more viewers for us.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, how do we combat any any negativity. We have to be a good channel for that. And if it's even on a subconscious level, if the developers say they come back and they think, oh man, if it's even like a half of a percentage point, they took feedback from content creators more seriously than Joe Schmo. Even if it's like not even on like a conscious level, but just like that subconscious level.
Yeah.
Just because we have the videos and stuff, and then the videos out there, being being very, very either negative or just trying to point everything out, and if that does well, it's then that's gonna reflect on the game from the general standpoint. So I don't necessarily feel like it's our responsibility to be like shills for Fateless.
No, not at all.
I don't feel any responsibility to be a shill for them. I've been called a shill for them already.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And it's pretty funny. But it's like, okay, we don't necessarily have to, depending on each of our content, right? If we have a reputation of doing deep dives on companies and games and stuff, and being very, very, very critical of them publicly, if we have that history, then going into our Godforge coverage, we may lean into that, and it, especially when there's a lot of bugs, a lot of issues, it can sound for sure possibly overly critical to the developers and stuff like that. To general layperson that's never played one of these games before, it may sound not critical enough. So there's a line. I don't know how fine that line is, but there is a line there between being hypercritical and just providing accurate feedback. What I've been trying to do is just compile like a notepad document that I'm gonna like put into like a bullet point list, and then that's gonna get copy pasted into my feedback report. and I'm gonna do it that way, outside of also having the videos and stuff like that. I've pointed out when I have a bug or something, when I'm trying to do something, I try to point it out in the game, to make it happen in the game. If I can't, I can't. If I can, then there we go. Yesterday, being the Friday patch that we got, they fixed a bunch of they tried to fix a bunch of like the looping heroes, like the Hercules and stuff that were creating infinite loops. And in doing that, unfortunately, we took the game down, brought it back up. I think it was down for about 30 to 45 minutes, give or take. Or it could just be, if it was shorter, it just felt like longer to me because I wasn't playing. But when it came back up, I could not run Workshop of Ta to save my life. Shamash was just his ultimate. He was just loop spanning it, and it was just stuck in an infinite loop. Didn't matter what stage I did. Didn't matter what team I took with him. Once the waves were fine, and then once I got to the boss, it was just we're stuck, and I would have to. So I couldn't even farm there yesterday after the patch. But then it comes back to, okay, they patched this, it's still not working. We got to report it as a player at that point. So luckily I was able to take a quick video of it and upload it as a ticket and everything like that. And but shortly after that, Susie edited the post in there in the Discord saying, yep, it's happening with Shamash and Isis and stuff still as well. So we were able to get the they tried to fix the infinite looping, but unfortunately it just when we got back into the game, the infinite looping was still there, or it got moved to other heroes, or whatever. But yeah, in general, that was a tough one. That's one that's a little tough. You got to take it on the chin. If you're the developer, you got to just buck up and say, my bad. We're gonna do everything we can to not let this happen again. But at the same time, it's a rough one. It's a rough one for sure.
It is hard for the dev team to see things like this, where it's an unforeseen stacking bug. So you've tried to iron out a particular bug, you've identified what the problem is, and I don't know whether they go into the code in Unity, the C# code, or if they have a way of tracking where things have fallen apart, but they went in and they did something to try and prevent Hercules and Spartan from getting stuck in their loop, and in doing so, it sort of cascaded into something else. And it's tough as a dev team to see that, especially live ops, where something is running for a community and you have to pull it down for a little bit and go, look guys, we need to get onto this and fix it, and then it comes back up and it's, yeah, we've fixed it, and then the community goes, you haven't fixed it, you've made it worse. And it's tough as a dev team. I think like you said, they do need to take it on the chin and just plow on. And that's been a few people's experience in the beta, but that's why it is a beta. Now, we had a discussion before about how people have been voicing their disappointment and been a little bit what I would consider negative, or a lot more negative than I could ever be, I think. And I think a lot of that disappointment actually stems from the fact that it felt like the team had lack of direction when it came to the progression of the game. So if you go back to maybe January or February of this year, when the minigame was about to wrap up, when they extended it, and then they extended it. Remember, they extended it twice. But anyway, they were still running the extended minigame, and they came to us, the community, not us, the CCs, us, the wider community, and they said, we are looking at getting the game into early access. I don't know if they said by the middle of the year. They said it's still on track to go into early access at the end of May, and so on and so forth. And all the podcasts came out week by week, and they talked about all different stuff. And the fact that they said they were ready, they felt that they were ready to go into what they would consider an early access version of the game, and then they took back what they'd said, and they said, well, after much deliberation, we're going to release the game into a beta stage, an actual open beta stage. And most people understand what a beta is. It is an unfinished version of the game. It doesn't have all of the systems. It doesn't have all of the mechanics. It has jankiness. It has bugs. It has brokenness. You get to a point at certain times through a beta where you cannot progress anymore in a certain area because it's just too broken. That's what a beta is. An alpha's worse. An alpha is a very, very unpolished version of a game. So they said early access, and then they said, nah, actually, we need to do a beta. That, I feel, is what disappointed people in the community the most, because they came into it thinking they're calling it beta, but they told us 6 months ago that they were ready to put this game into early access, but it's not. And so therefore I am noticing this. If this had been released in early access, it would have killed the game. And that's where the negativity is coming from. It's we were expecting something, we were given something else. Gosh darn it.
Yeah, it feels like, almost in a way, it almost feels like we were they got their expectations a little high, and in turn put it out there, and then as a result, we, the community, got our expectations high.
Yes.
And the expectations for the beta launch were through the roof, admittedly.
Yeah.
And for good or bad. And as a result, it put a massive microscope on the entire Fateless Godforge project. And now I think this beta feedback is going to give them much more pressure. But I think as long as they take it constructively and really lean into it, I think it's going to make the game better.
It is, absolutely.
In the long run.
Yeah, I talked about this in one of my videos, but there are two kinds of data. There's empirical data, which they are constantly gathering. When people play, which heroes they level up, how much food they have, what the stats are, the combat text in any given fight, what the bosses are doing, or how many times they cast turn meter, all of this data. Like, they're gathering all of this data through the beta, and that is empirical data. but it is the feel-good data, it is the emotional data that this beta also needed to gather for them, and that's where community feedback actually comes into play. That's the other kind of data that they just could not get internally. They had to put it into an open beta like this so that they get as many people as possible to come in and to give their honest feedback about where the game is at. Some people are not going to be honest about their feedback. They're going to look at it and go, man, this is broken. I don't know how to articulate what's broken about it or what I'm not enjoying about it. I'm just going to tell them that their game sucks. That's going to happen, right? But it is the actual well thought out reviews and feedback, and we have all been encouraging everyone to give feedback, not just us, not just the people that are putting out Godforge videos every day or every week. It is everybody who is taking part in this beta needs to be encouraged to put in that emotional feedback as well, even if they can't really articulate what they perceive to be the game falling short in certain areas, or mechanically not sound, or systems that just don't make sense, and things like this.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter so long as people give in some sort of feedback that is emotionally invested, because games are an emotional investment. If it's not enjoyable to you, why are you playing it? All right. How you doing? Is it Geotech? All I see is a symbol, Geotech. Are you
Geo for starters.
just Geo? Yeah. Are you the guy that released your first video recently? You said.
Yeah, pretty much.
Cool. And you did it all on mobile.
I've done like a few for Raid, but they were compared to the one that I've done for Godforge. It's like a clear sort of like increasing skill of using CapCut for making the video, but because it's mobile, it is.
Yeah, it's rough.
I mean, yeah, it's. I think that video took me 6 hours to edit.
Oh gosh.
And it's like 5 minutes long.
Yeah. I have been there though, even on PC, man. I have to admit, I have been there with taking 6 hours to edit a 7-minute video. I feel sometimes that just, the editing process, especially when I'm trying to put lots of elements into my video, and you probably can't do that as much on mobile, but when I'm using DaVinci Resolve, it doesn't matter how many things I've saved and I'm copy pasting. There are some videos that just take a lot of editing. it's just the way that things are.
I added a lot more to that video than maybe all of my Raid content combined.
Wow.
And I think it kind of like it broke CapCut a bit, because it took forever just to upload to CapCut so I could actually transfer it in the first place. And I transferred it and it didn't work, and then I spent 3 hours trying to transfer it and it still didn't work, and I had to go back and redo it.
Oh my gosh, it sounds like an absolute nightmare, dude. I'm really glad that you pushed on and you did it though, because getting that first video out, that is a huge step.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Are you guys all good if I just bring up some questions, or maybe Geo, if you this is a really good opportunity maybe for you to just talk about your approach to the beta maybe, and overall your feelings about how the beta went, and then I will launch into some questions that we can discuss.
Yeah, I mean, I can do that.
That'd be awesome.
In terms of compared to the alpha, I was very much all in all the time on the alpha, and it felt good. Then I waited such a long time for the beta to kick in. The beta started, and I think I kind of crashed out pretty early. The difficulty spiked, and I lost a slight bit of interest.
Okay.
I think I picked up maybe 6-7 days behind everybody else.
Okay.
The lack of, I suppose, the lack of information was an issue. So, gear-wise, the RNG is stupid. It's too much.
Yep.
And the fact that you've got 1 trillion gear sets and there's no explanation of what any of them do unless you have like binoculars, and even then it's those tiny little arrows. I only figured out where they were maybe yesterday. Where if you go along, it's sort of like 2 of it, 4 of it, 6 of it. Some of those are bugs, so I still don't know what half the sets do.
Yep.
Similar with things like the scrolls and the ascension.
Yep.
People are getting confused with the ones at the top where it goes, you have to go to this dungeon, you have to go to that dungeon, whereas press it on the bottom and it's like, you can convert these into something bigger.
Yep.
That was an issue. So all of those, plus the fact that I was used to what you got in the alpha, where you could basically, you get a couple of champs and you can post it, because the champs you get in the alpha were all busted. Now the same champs aren't busted, and you go halfway through posting it and then you hit a brick wall, and it's like, can I be bothered to spend, I don't know, 5 hours farming one dungeon just to level this character up? And then I've got to do it with another 4 or another 5.
Right.
And I think that put me off a bit.
Yep.
The fact that I've now got to the point where I've hit adventure mode, and it's a couple of days prior to the end of the beta run.
Yep.
A little bit of a letdown, but I get it. I didn't put the effort in. For the most part, I do like the characters. I like the champion, the looks. I like the way they've designed the moveset. It's nice and streamlined. I absolutely can't stress enough how amazing the space system and the imprints for weapons is. I just wish they gave us the option to, but I do know they've said it. They're looking into ways of helping us remove from weapons and stuff. But
no, it's really good, man. I mean, oh, sorry, go on. You have more to say?
I can't say, like, for the alpha, for me, it was like a 9 out of 10.
Yep.
And I thought, well, the beta's going to be, everything we said was wrong in the alpha, they fixed it, and we're going to play the beta, and the beta's going to be a 12 out of 10. I'd probably say it's more like a 6.
Okay. Oh, 6 out of 10, that's pretty harsh. But no, I totally understand that there are a lot of people around the community, including content creators, who will have a similar sentiment. But I mean, kudos to you for reaching adventure mode, because that is actually quite the accomplishment. And I know some people hit adventure mode day 2 or day 4 or whatever.
Yeah, I was completely mind boggled by that. I was like, how are you doing that? And then it's like, and it dawned on me, it's like, these people are spending 24/7 connected to the screen and farming and farming and farming and farming.
That's right. Yeah.
There are people who've completed the beta, like completely completed the beta, and it's like, how?
Yeah. I asked that question.
But
I asked that question. How do people do so well? It is a compressed environment. You have to remember that. So I'm not excusing the fact that the grind. So my 2 biggest pieces of feedback in my 7-day review were the grind is just too grindy, and the other thing was the lack of information. Like, there is just lack of information. Like you said. How is anyone supposed to know what the set bonuses are?
Absolutely everything is bare naked. You don't get anything. You
don't get anything. Yeah, it doesn't point you towards anything.
Balls deep, nothing. And it's like, this. It's like...
Yep.
And I'm used to playing these kind of games, like probably you are, and it's like, we're used to getting like at least a little bit of information so we know we can do this, we can do that.
The UI and the UX needs a lot of work. And I was actually surprised coming into the beta at how little development has been done on the user experience overall. I'm not a user experience expert, but I'm a user, and there are certain intuitive things that just need to be in a game like this that are just missing. And I was just questioning, why is this... I am a communicator, okay? And I am all for teaching and training people to better themselves and to understand how things work so that they can do them themselves, and articulating things in such a way that it makes sense to people. And you can translate that into UX, the user experience. And if the user experience is not communicating well, and it's using plain English, and it's signposting in the correct places, and there is consistency, and all of these things that just fall under the UX umbrella, if they're missing, then it really, really muddies the experience for any user, any player that is coming in, even in a beta form. Now, they've identified and they've acknowledged that there is a lot of work to do, including information,
everything.
placement, UI.
I think it was.
Yeah.
I think it completely lacked everything. I think they may have maybe it's just my bias because I'm not big on these kind of things, but they put a lot of emphasis and effort, maybe too much, into the story. And every time you complete a stage, there's more story, and then there's more story on top of that, and being very elaborate, which is great if you like the lore of a game.
Yeah.
But if you're someone like me who just skips over that regardless of which game it is,
Yeah, you can skip it.
then it's like,
Yeah.
it's like I'd rather you replace the story with more information and tool tips.
Yes.
For someone who isn't as experienced with these kind of games as me, who sort of like wants to get into it, and it's like they hit the brick wall that I hit, and they delete the game, which is clearly not what they want.
Which is going to happen. Yeah,
it's going to happen. But as is, if they don't improve it like wholesale, it's like a 90% increase of an improvement that they need.
Yep.
If they don't do that, then almost nobody's going to stay connected to the game, even the ones who are very heavily invested.
Yeah. Yeah, there'll be hooks, but there won't be stickability.
Yeah.
There is stuff to hook them in. So, JKG and I were talking a bit before about how Raid became the big boy on the block, right? Now, I started playing Raid, for the record, JKG, in 2018. So it was September 2018, which is pre-release. It was like 6 months pre-release. I played the beta, and I mean, I was in Deadwood Jedi's Discord and that. I know you probably don't remember me, but I was part of there, and I talked to Deadwood quite a lot as well, like early on.
Yeah.
But anyway, with the whole Raid thing, it captured me from the get-go. That opening sequence of the 4 heroes, the 4 champions going into the lair of the dragon, and then it said, press this, do this. Now, the missions and the quests needed a revamp after probably about a year of its release, and they just never revamped it and changed it. I mean, they did to a degree. They
added like a month.
They added
after a month.
Yeah, absolutely. They added the whole arbiter thing where the arbiter was leading you through stuff and blah blah blah. But when it came to the missions making sense and the quests making sense, that was a huge pain point for me in that game. But the game itself, the playability of it, after it hooked me through its graphics and its animation,
you can't get out of it once you're hooked.
I was blown away by a mobile game, because it was only mobile at the time, remember? I was blown away that there was a mobile game like this. I'm an RPG nerd. I love all the Final Fantasies and just RPG games. I'm a WoW nerd. I still play.
Yeah, with like character development and
I still play WoW.
Of like in depth.
Yeah. So it hooked me in, and it kept me playing because I was trying to improve my champions, and I was trying to get stuff, and I was trying to accomplish stuff, and it had enough information in there for people. It was a polished game, even in what they called a beta phase. It was actually early access, and it was polished
100%.
enough that it pulled people in. And even though the clan boss only went to Nightmare, they had no Ultra Nightmare, and even though there was only Gold 4 Arena, no Gold 5 Arena, they added those things, and they had a roadmap, and they had a whole lot of locked areas. Like, there was no tower, whatever I can't remember what the tower is called, but there was no tower. There was just an empty spot on the map. Yeah, the Doom Tower, and there were missing factions. They were locked, and some of them locked for years, right? But it pulled me in, and it kept my attention because it was polished in so many areas of the game mechanically that I wanted to keep playing. And that is what Godforge needs beyond this beta. It needs people like you, Geo, to say, look, this was my experience, and I was disappointed because this, and this. And you've been able to articulate that really well and give some really good examples of where it falls short currently. And they need to hear that, because otherwise it's not going to be improved to the point of releasability.
Yeah, if enough people don't say it, then they're just not going to hear it, are they?
That's right.
I had a similar experience with Raid, but mine wasn't quite so like abrupt. It's like not quite beta. So the year after, I found Raid, played it a little bit. I liked it. I enjoyed it, but then I put it down for a day or two, and I didn't miss it. And then I came back to Raid maybe 18 months, 2 years later. I think it was just after Hyrule or something like that. And now I play it every day,
Right.
like religiously. Because now it's like, okay, you've added more content that makes sense for someone like me,
Yep.
who likes the PvE side of things more than the PvP side of things.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, I'm hooked.
Yeah.
And it was enough to unhook me from Galaxy of Heroes, which I'd been playing for about 4 years beforehand, which was getting a bit dated for me. So I switched to Raid, and then all of a sudden I'm 9 months in, and my account's crap, and then I find all these other people like Hell Hades and Nubs and all that, and then suddenly my account's not so bad. Then suddenly he's, oh well, I'm not doing Raid anymore. I'm going to do Fateless and this project. And it's like, I want in on that. I want to be someone who helps test that and give you feedback.
Yeah, and on the ground floor.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I have sort of like decided from the moment he said, okay, we've got this idea and we're going to do this,
Yeah.
that I'm kind of already invested in the game.
Yes.
To the point where it's like, I want them to sort of like listen to people like us and go, okay, these people are the big main player base that are going to launch the game at launch. So other people sort of like, they enjoy it. Let's try it ourselves, and reference codes and all the rest. And I want them to sort of like go, okay, these are your issues. We will fix them.
Yeah.
Whereas Raid went, these are your issues, but we don't want to fix them because it's too much time and effort, and we don't want to break this, and we can't be bothered with that. And then they go and do it anyway, but like 5 years too late.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to, like, all the problems that we've talked about in like 7 days and 8 days and so on, sort of like fix them before they're a problem, so that players stick around. Because if I wasn't invested already, it's like I would probably pick the game up at launch, play a week, maybe 2, and then get bored and leave.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Or at least that, as it is, that's how I'd probably do it.
I mean, Simon talks about that quite a lot, doesn't he? I mean, he's been saying this over the last 3 years, that if the game's not fun, people are not going to stick around. If you're not finding enjoyable modes within the game, if what they call the game loop is not enjoyable for people, if it starts to feel too much like a chore, or you're losing the fun factor, then they have failed.
Which it kind of, that's the wall I've hit. Is I don't really feel motivated to 6-star half a dozen champions in the beta.
Right.
Because that game loop of like taking a 1-star to a 2-star to a 3-star for, a week is very monotonous and energy draining. It's just, I'm not actually interested. But I do like the idea of the whole Pantheon idea and the tower idea, the arena idea, which
Yep.
we won't get access just yet, but they're probably the side of the game that's going to hook me in.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But
Yeah, we
as
will
is at the
hopefully
moment,
get to
it's
test
a
it.
lot of work.
Yeah, so, I
I
mean,
think they said that like the next one they'd go. I don't know if they said they'd unlock arena, but Pantheon and Tower will be unlocked.
they're hoping that
Uh,
it will be all three. The last thing that I heard Simon say was they're still hoping that we will test the Pantheon boss. Not you guys are going to test the Pantheon boss in beta 2. They haven't confirmed it because they don't know what out of this beta is actually going to impact the second beta and what our experience will be in that. So it's all up in the air still. Even though, I mean, we can take things that they say and we can go, oh, they said this, they said this.
He's learned as well. He's now on the other side. He spent years where we're sat going,
Yes.
oh, well, we need to do this, this, and this. And now he's the one sort of like
receiving it.
in the firing line. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I think we as content creators, we can kind of equate that as well. Pretty easy. It's a little behind the scenes for anybody watching, but you know, we can look at any content creator out there for any game and be like, oh man, I could do that. That's so easy. You know, you start recording your game and flip a camera on and call it good, and oh man, I can do that.
Most definitely assure people that is not.
Then you try it and you're like, you realize just how much work it actually is, and then like just to make a small short video or you know a short stream or whatever, and then when you're like, oh man, this dude's doing this every single day for however many years, you know, or whatever.
And it's not just one video a day; it's like multiple videos a day. And some people do multiple videos, multiple streams of multiple games a day.
Yeah,
and then you're
it's
impressive. That's how you get 100 and odd followers. It's like, oh, okay, I can do that.
It's super impressive.
Like, no, you can't.
It's super impressive. But like that's kind of one thing, you know, that I didn't think of before I decided I wanted to be a content creator, and I was just like, oh, I can do this, and then I picked up a laptop, downloaded OBS, and I was like, oh, what do I need to do to edit? And then I tried to edit a video, and I was like, okay, this is absolutely terrible.
Yeah,
I don't want to do
massive sort of eye opener. It's like you need a hell of a lot of stuff before you even get off the ground. All these things downloaded, scripted, set out,
and then you get to the point.
Pictures.
Yeah, and then you get to the point where you're just like, oh, I kind of understand the super basic, you know, I can make a video. It's not going to take me, you know, 2 days to make a 10-minute video. Now it's only going to take me 1 day to make it. You know, I understand that, and then I can work on my polish. I think just listening to you guys talk about you know the shortcomings and whatnot of the current beta. I wonder if that has something to do with it. like Hades and the team, they were like, oh, you know, we play these games. How hard, you know, we can make a game, and
now it should be easy to make one of these games. We just pick up where we left off and just fix their problems for them, and just go, well, we did it first, and it's like
not having the knowledge to lean back on, the firsthand knowledge of themselves doing it.
Yeah.
They don't have that like roadmap. Okay, we need to do this, and this first. I think back of like, you know, I'll use Raid as an example. You know, I'd never played any genre, any games in this type of a genre, right? No hero collector, no MMORPG, nothing. And I played Raid, picked it up. I had no idea how to just get through campaign. And it took me days. It took me days to get through regular campaign.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And the game's and that game's tutorial to this day still, you know, equip 2 life pieces on your attack. Put two HP on your 2 HP gears on your damage dealing starter. You know, like okay, it steers you off in the wrong direction. But
from the start.
That being said, you kind of spin your wheels because you're trying to do all these things because everything's brand new and everything's shiny, everything's new, and then you finally couple years, a year went by for me, and I decided I'm going to make a air quotes free to play account. And I knew how to get through campaign. I knew how to get campaign done inside of a day. Maybe two if I was being slow. And you're able to just kind of cruise, not because the game is any easier, but I just have the knowledge to where I know exactly how I got to do this.
Yeah.
So I think some of the folks that cleared, adventure mode early on, I think they either had made the plan and they understood exactly what the plan to do what they wanted to do was, which I think is along the lines of, and they can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think, the likes of those guys, they basically picked their starter and their minigame legendary and invested in their starter hero because the starter hero is easier to invest in early on, and just got that starter hero to 6-star immediately.
Yeah.
And then started working on everybody else. And I'm still using my starter in adventure mode. Right now I'm on Tion, and I'm still using my Guan Yu right now because he is that good for me. The other thing, and I've said this in a couple of videos and everything, but weapons. The legendary especially, but epic and legendary weapons are kind of a trap.
Yeah.
Especially early on. Use those rare weapon copies, level up your rare weapons because you're going to be able to get such a big stat boost from those, even if it's flat defense or flat attack or whatever it may be. You're going to get such a big stat boost from that. It's going to help you clear higher stages just by having those base stat boosts, as opposed to
that's only something I got yesterday. Yeah. It's like,
I only really figured it out. I only really figured it out around like Monday, Tuesday of this past week. So don't feel bad. don't feel bad if you just figured if you're just figuring that out or just learning that at all, because that's one thing that didn't even click in my head.
Anyways.
Yeah, it was one of those things. I kept seeing my legendaries, and I was like, man, I need a copy of this legendary so I can level it up. And then I was like, what am I doing leveling? Why am I wasting all this gold and Rivenite and all these resources? I could have had just a basic little rare weapon leveled up to 60 by now and had it on them. That really, once that clicked, I was able to start really kind of cruising through the later stages and into adventure mode and I was able to have a little bit more fun. Once that clicked, and that was good. I will say, as far as like the tooltips, how you mentioned there's, not enough tooltips. I agree, but in certain places, it's almost like there's too many tooltips. Like I know they put out the post on social medias and in the Godforge Discord. Click everything, which absolutely yes, click everything, because we don't know as a player, we don't know what we don't know coming in, and there's a lot of stuff I click on that nothing pops up, and I need something to pop up there to tell me what this does. And it's just not there. But also there's plenty of places where I can click 3 places and get the same information. So they're in this weird little balance of too much information, but also not enough information for the new user experience.
In the right places.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to streamline that a little bit better both ways. The weapon is a big one. Like the weapon, like the stars.
The weapons and the gear.
What does the star? What does the star do?
And it turns out they didn't actually do anything, because either it's visually bugged or it's actually bugged.
I think the weapons are just bugged right now. We're not really getting the effects, and we're not really getting everything. Because I have one of the rare, I think it's one of the rare weapons that just all it does is accuracy boost by like 10 or 12 or something like that. I think it is the Kinjal, the knife. I put that on, and my accuracy doesn't move.
No,
one bit.
Exactly. Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, I guess that's just bugged right now, or it's a
Yeah.
visual bug, and we are getting the boost, but it's just not showing.
No,
Yeah.
But
I think it's completely bugged. I've been using the same weapon. It's doing nothing for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I
yeah,
agree.
it feels like it's doing nothing for sure. Um, but yeah, it's interesting. Like I do think there is a foundation. There is a foundation here that it could be a lot better. I feel like terminology wise, this beta build that we're working on would be better suited being called an alpha build.
Yeah.
Than and the alpha build that we played, was it last year now at this point?
It was a
That alpha build,
closed.
it was a
Yeah.
closed alpha, and
Yeah.
it was literally just they built
Very
a game
narrow.
mode
They
for
did.
us just to
Yep. They built it.
to test out, can these heroes, can they
Yeah.
do animations for more than 150 people at a time?
Yeah.
you
It was
know,
a testing
worldwide.
space. Yeah.
Yeah, testing their servers and can the servers handle what we need, all that kind of fun stuff. So I think it was like,
So
if this was considered like alpha 2 instead of beta 1, I
Yeah.
think it would have been, I think it would be a lot
that would
more
make more sense.
Yes.
positive.
Yes. I
It's
more
like
agree.
positive
Yeah.
They've made a
feedback.
big
Yeah.
issue about saying, well, we weren't going to release it too early because we had issues,
Yeah.
and that they've pulled it back a bit. But instead of saying, well, we'll pull it back a bit, just switch it from beta back to alpha.
Yeah, just call it
'Cause-
alpha wave 4.
It
Or
feels.
or
it
al-
feels
So
alpha.
many
Yeah.
issues. It's like real
Yeah.
betas should have a lot of the big glaring issues that we're finding kind of ironed out. The small bugs I get, but it's like a lot of the UI is just it's naked.
It feels like it's an in-between, sort of in-between an alpha and a beta. So there's a certain alpha vibe to a lot of it in terms of unfinished things and expectations of what you should have. Like you should click something and it should tell you what it does, or you try to get in somewhere and it takes you to the right screen, but it hasn't retained what you've selected in that screen, and the filter does all sorts of funky stuff, and it is acting like an alpha in many aspects, but in other aspects it definitely feels like a beta in that we can hop into a battle, we can expect our heroes to use their skills, we can see the animations, we can see the debuffs and the buffs pop up, even though at certain resolutions they're kind of hard to read. We can see it functioning as the game should function in the campaign stages, in the dungeons against the bosses. In that aspect, it is in beta form. But yes, I agree with you guys that it is alpha-ish.
The champion models and how they interact with the game is definitely the closest thing the game has to like a beta experience. The actual characters work properly now, but it's all the outside of combat stuff that needs to catch up with the rest of the game.
It felt like the characters worked properly in alpha as well. We had far fewer heroes to play with and to test out. But of the 17 legendaries that were in the alpha waves, it felt like they had complete kits, even though they've adjusted and amended a few of these as they've added other legendaries to the game. It felt like they were playable. But yeah, like you said, JKG, it was a game mode that was built for us to test out certain aspects. Whereas this, it is essentially the bones of the main game that they want us to check in terms of PvE content, because when the game is released, we will have these dungeons as they are. They might improve the mechanics, they might improve all sorts of things with the dungeons and the rifts. We haven't talked about rifts, but definitely we will see improvements. But the fact that you do a campaign in story mode moving into adventure mode, the fact that the campaign has 10 stages per realm, the fact that there is a dungeon for getting each alchemy stone for ascension, these are all elements that will be in the final product. And in that sense, it's not a special game mode that was created for the community to test. It's, hey, this is where the game's at in its present state. Let us know how it is and what you think.
Wrong?
One other thing I was thinking as you guys were talking is that it feels like, in a sense, they have fallen into the trap of designing a game for people who already know these games. They are seeing things through a lens of an experienced player, not through the Brandon of 2018 playing Raid for the first time and not having any idea what the heck was going on.
They're looking at this from the perspective of a 3 years in a row Platinum Arena Raid player that is a pay-to-win top 50 clans. It's sort of like they're playing as end-game pay-to-win players and expecting everybody to sort of like jump over and have the same like full-on mentality. It's like, oh, well, I already know what I have to do. I don't need a tutorial. I don't need any help. I already have a good idea of what all of your stuff means because apparently I'm psychic. And
I don't think it's that extreme. I don't think it's quite that extreme.
No, but it's not quite that extreme, but it's come across that way sometimes. It's like in the past, they've chirped on about other games not being very new user friendly.
Yeah.
And they've completely missed that link for their own game.
Absolutely. And it's
like I said, it's like at the moment, at its present state, I mean, I know it's going to get like better, and it's why I didn't make a big deal out of it in the video, because I already, like I said, this is a beta game.
Yeah.
It's not what we're going to get at the end. We're going to get a lot more. And it's pointless complaining about what's wrong to a degree. If 1,000 people have already said it, I'm just beating a dead horse. But
they need to hear it still.
The fact that they need to hear it, but it's the fact that it still feels like they have this inherent expectation that the players that will automatically pick up their game at launch are very much seasoned veterans of the genre itself.
Yeah.
So it's like they won't necessarily need the tutorials that they're all asking for. They don't need the help that realistically should be there because they're already in that sort of like field of game. They kind of inherently know how to do it, and those are the same people that are absolutely blitzing through adventure mode on day 3.
Yeah, they need to change the lens.
They definitely sort of need to take a step back and look at the wider player base, because I think at the moment they're kind of skewing it a bit towards like the top 500 out of many thousands at the moment.
Yeah.
And a lot of those people on the back end, they're just going to do exactly what I said, which is they're going to play 2 weeks, hit a wall, lose interest, and switch to a different game.
Yep. It makes me wonder if there were a lot of people who came into the beta and experienced just that and went, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's a lot harder than I was expecting. The game's not leading me down the right track. Maybe there are a lot of people who came into it and have just not played it right through the whole beta because it's just.
I've seen a few people say exactly that. It's like they've played the alpha. They were one of the lucky few to get invited to the alpha.
Yeah,
they played the alpha. They've been given a ton of really broken heroes at the time, because it's like I pulled Athena. Athena was absolutely busted, and now she's not. So all the heroes that were insane are now tuned down to where they probably should be in comparison. And people are going, oh, I can't do what I did then, and I'm not enjoying it like I did then.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to go somewhere else. And if they're doing that now, what's the chances of them even picking up the game at launch?
Yeah, and that's fair. And I know prior to the launch, Simon did try to say that it was going to feel that way. I remember distinctly him pointed out in one of the pre-beta launch videos that the alpha was so accelerated that things were going to feel really, really good, really, really fast.
Yeah.
Where this is
Yeah,
going to be
it's
more
like
of a
instant
realistic,
sort of
air
like
quotes, realistic, campaign playthrough, where we're not having that super, accelerated growth,
Mm.
But to your point, yeah, I agree. Giving us that that piece of candy, before we
yeah,
got our meal. It's almost like having dessert before you eat your dinner. It's like, oh, now all I want is the dessert. All I want to do
yeah,
is eat the ice
and
cream
you're not
instead of,
offering it me at all. It's not even on the horizon.
yeah.
It's like I've lost interest. I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough position. I can see it because it's like you want to build the hype for your game. So putting out, that super accelerated, feels good 24/7 alpha, and then it's like, okay, we built some hype, and the hype is here,
Mm.
but here's the baked potato and grilled chicken, and it's like,
Mm.
well, this isn't the ice cream with sprinkles that I just had. So
I mean, the alpha kind of gave us like a end game account and
oh
said,
yeah,
"Have fun."
yeah,
Yeah.
Now they've took that away from us, and we're crying because they took our toys out of the pram, and then they've given
yeah,
this fucking turd and gone, "Hey, now start from scratch." And
yeah,
by the
and I
way,
don't.
everything that we did before is now you've got to do it the hard way. And a lot of people going, "I don't like that. You gave me the good stuff."
Yeah,
You, and I don't know whether they see it as it's too much
and
effort. I'm not interested. Are you
maybe.
punishing me? But it's
I
like,
don't think it, I don't think they're trying to punish us. I do
yeah,
think
I
it,
don't
it
think,
falls down. I do think it falls onto like that first point, the that it might be a lot of effort. I've never coded a game, so I can't speak to that. I just can
no,
only imagine that it's probably a lot. Also, just a caveat, I do want to throw in there, like when we're saying, like, players are saying this, players are saying that. I don't want it to say we're calling out the community for
No.
being,
No.
air quotes,
it's
whiny or anything like that. Nothing
not,
of the fact, nothing of the sort.
it's more
I think,
constructive criticism en masse that I'm
yeah,
thinking,
and
okay, I've
it's
seen
from
20, 30, 40 people say the exact same thing, and
yeah,
then I've seen
and it's
another 100
also
people say the same thing. And it's like,
our own experiences to go along with that as well. Either
yeah,
we've seen it or we've, been in a chat with somebody, they shared their screen and we see it, or anything and stuff like that. So it's like we're just trying to be the vessel for the
yeah.
message.
Yeah.
At
And a
least
lot of
that's
these
the
aren't
way I take it.
content creators or alpha testers. These are sort of like people
Mhm.
who've just sort of like stumbled across Godforge Beta access and gone, I will try. And I like this, I don't like that.
Yeah.
And the ones
Yeah.
that saying they don't like, it's like, okay, you've got a couple of dozen saying they don't like the same thing. And then you've got more of the same point saying they don't like something else. But
Mhm.
the people who do like certain things are less willing to say, okay, this is what I really like. So it's like at the
Yeah.
moment, the things we know are extremely popular is the faith system, the weapons imprints, and some people are quite big on the actual story and the character design, but
Yeah.
for the most part, nobody's really screaming anything about those aspects from the rooftops in the same way as they are
Yeah.
about
That
all the things they don't like, which is
there's
a
a bit
shame.
of psychology that goes in with that.
Mm.
Like, emotionally, we're, as human beings, we're, negative emotions are uh much more powerful than positive emotions. So like we're very, as a human condition, we're much more conditioned to voice our concerns or voice our issues, as opposed to, praising somebody for doing a good
Yeah,
job. It just, look at like service industry, right? We Customer service, we're that we might have 10 really good customer service interactions if we call somebody, a company, to help us out with something or to use a service. We might have 10 really good interactions, and that's just the standard in our mind. That's what we should be getting. Then we have
yeah,
that one bad interaction,
Mm.
and
That's the
it's
other one
Become
you
a Karen.
remember.
we're writing the review, we're making the phone call, and all, I'll never bring my business here again. And
Yeah, yeah.
it's like
Mm.
it's like okay,
It's only
out
natural.
of 11 interactions, one was bad, but that one is the one that sticks with us so hard. So I totally get that. Yeah, and I think comment sections, forums, the Discord chats and everything, that it's going to naturally be, it's naturally going to be that way.
Yeah.
We're going to
Yeah.
Highlight the
naturally
negatives. Yeah.
highlight the negative stuff,
Yeah.
and rather than the positive stuff. So it's just
I mean, I
a
have seen
balance.
quite a lot of positive stuff. It's just
Oh,
the
yeah.
Yeah,
ratio
yeah,
is quite. It's bigger than
Skewed.
I was expecting,
Yeah.
but then it's also
sure.
quite clear that there's a lot of people that were very much brand new to not just Godforge as a game, but very new to the whole genre in general.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah,
this is
absolutely.
their first like tipping in their toe of the whole thing in general, and they've
Yep.
picked a beta test of a not so much complete game yet, and
Exactly.
it's kind of
Yeah.
rocked them a bit.
Yeah, either I think there's one of two ways that can go for you as a player. Either that's going to be a good thing and you're like, okay, this is something to build off of, or as
Yeah.
a player, and I can see, you know, maybe I do like certain aspects, but out of 10 full aspects of the game, maybe I like 3, maybe 4, and the other 6 or 7, I hate. So I totally get it, and people are always, I know people are gonna, have opinions one way or the other,
Of
and
course, yeah.
I welcome that. Because as a content creator, we hope we thrive off of feedback. Viewers' feedback makes us better content creators, and then in turn, if we can provide accurate, statements and show examples instead of just the verbal example, if we can replicate it and show it, we can show just how much of an issue it may or may not be. But going and then off of that, from the development side, they're going to have hundreds of thousands of, if not millions of reports and everything, and feedback to go through. So hopefully they're able to go through it quickly enough to, categorize them all into bins, and then from there it's really just triage. What's the worst? What is the worst offender? What's the main feedback that is the absolute worst that we have to fix immediately?
Yep.
Then do that. Then what's number 2, and do that, and just make the list in order of priority.
Yeah.
And then just start checking them off the list here in the next couple months, because I do think they're going to have to get a lot of these issues. If they don't fix any of the issues and we go back into beta 2 with the same exact bugs and issues, it's going to be very bad.
Problem.
Yep.
If they take our feedback as from the community and really implement, they don't have to implement all of them. I know, a couple months, a very short time frame in the grand scheme of things when you're working on something huge, but if they can get a good chunk of stuff completed before beta 2, that's at least going to build, in my mind, I feel like that will build some good vibes, some favor with the community, saying, look, here's the feedback you gave us, here's the fixes we did.
Yep.
We're trying. and I think that's, from a company standpoint, that's pretty much all you can do in a situation like this, where the community kind of feels like you missed the mark a bit. So you're in, for lack of a better term, you're already in damage control mode. So you're kind of behind the 8 ball. You gotta fix some stuff. Got to get everything triaged.
Yep.
And have that, have the dev team and the QA team working. Sorry, Unbound Sage, if you see this, but hope you got to work, long overtime shifts, but
to get it done.
But yeah,
for sure.
yeah, it has to get done.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah, and I think they will. I think that they are going to spend these next few months going through the data, not just the empirical data, but what I call the emotional data and
Yep.
all the feedback. Now, I
Absolutely.
don't know if this is a Western mindset, but when we are asked to give feedback, on the whole, we are pointing out what we would like to see improved, not, hey, I really
Yeah.
thought this was great and you guys did a good job here and this is why I think it's great and great job, guys. Like, it's not asking for encouragement, it's asking for feedback, and we interpret that as what is the area that
Yeah.
you have noticed could do with improvement. And this is part of my mindset, not just, coming from a Western point of view and the fact that we interpret feedback like that, but I'm the kind of person that always tries to solve things. Like, I am a solutions person.
Yeah. You
I'm
want to fix the
naturally,
problems.
yeah, I'm naturally able to actually see multiple solutions and multifaceted angles, and I'm able to approach things from all different lenses, and just that's one of my skills, right? That's just one of my strengths. It's just who I am. I see a problem, I want to fix it, and I find a solution to it. And it might not be the right solution, it might need iterations along the way, but I will find a solution that works and improves people's lives and helps them to do things easier and better and gives them the tools that they need to actually get something done. And that's how I see feedback. And I think that's how a lot of people see feedback, whether they are problem solvers or not. The way they see feedback is, oh, it's asking me to identify the areas that need to be improved, that I'm having a bad time with. I am not having a great experience here.
Yeah.
Therefore, this does need to be improved. And my feedback equals, this is where you should improve. And better yet, the bonus on top of that is if you can say what should be there in place or how it should be improved, or just giving them a little bit of indication towards nudging what you think would improve this. Like, this is missing information. Hey, I think you should give it information. Something as simple as that. But that's the way that we see feedback, and that's the way that we give feedback. And yeah, they do have their work cut out for them. There are going to be a lot of reports, but I imagined it exactly how you said it there, JKG, that they will put them into baskets, they will quantify them, and they will decide what is the priority list here, what priority do each of these things take. And then on top of that, they have a whole lot of bugs to fix as well. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Good luck!
There is a lot of them.